said I'll do a quick thing about my mom. So, like, at this point, I already know that the state facility, they, supposedly went to the court and said that my mama needed to be placed in a home. The same facility supposedly took my mom to UMMC. Now, I want to point out some things to prove that UMMC doctors that are on my mother's paperwork need to be relieved of their duties and lose their license immediately for multiple reasons. My mother is not allergic to the contrast dye that you stick in to do a scan to make sure you really do have breast cancer. Well, they didn't do that because they put she was allergic to it. I can prove 110% she is not because she's had it done before. I will retrieve them records and I will make sure I get them to the proper authorities. Also, they, supposedly in 2020, they did a virtual, meaning like I'm talking to you on here, they talked to my mother. And my mother said that she was raped. It is their duty to mandatory report stuff like that. Even if they don't have information, just the fact that she said it and the fact that they didn't, that doctor's going to lose his license. That I promise. Because it's not the first time. I know that happened to my mom in state's custody. Another thing that they lied about. Instead of contacting the biological family, which is what they're supposed to do when supposedly a person has cancer, they lied. They said and slandered me and said that I was in the state facility. Multiple doctors signed off on this. I called every state facility and made sure I got it on recording. I've never been in a state facility in my life. Only time I've been at the state facility was to visit my mother. I did not live at the state facility with mental health issues. I have not been diagnosed with any mental health issues. I do get a mental evaluation. I do have some PTSD with trauma, dealing with the things that I've dealt with my mom. But they say for no medication, I am handling it pretty well. I am not depressed. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm not going to kill nobody. I don't have none of them thoughts. I am not schizophrenic. But they had me living at Whitfield, the same facility that supposedly went to court and took my mother away to hold her against her will and place her in the place to be tortured, which everybody got to watch for the past 4 years at Roeville, Mississippi. I am about to put together a video with some factual information and post it out online. I can understand now why they would have their security do what they did, but since the fact that they did that, along with these falsified medical records and slandering, that's not all. They also got extra funding. Let me break this down, because if you give somebody lithium and you dehydrate them, their kidney functions are going to go out of whack. And it shows through blood work that my mother's kidney functions were out of whack, so was her lithium level very high. Well, the doctor didn't look at that. No. They needed to go do a study on my mom that was not FDA approved to get more money through Medicaid. And then right on the bottom of the paper, even though it's a negative test, does not mean it's negative. What the fuck? Y'all setting yourself up to do some more money, huh? These people has really lied at UMMC, and they're going to be the main focus of my target at this point, right along with the state facility and the attorneys who helped them. Medical human trafficking and slavery to do these kind of things, and how much money they get from the Medicaid, which is Medicaid fraud. They did 2 different studies on my mother, and this is another thing I'm really concerned about. It reads that my mom was in poor condition and that she was medicated, because they medicate everybody when they take them and transfer them. They were able to ultrasound one breast, but not the other one that supposedly had the cancer. I have my mom's, previous stuff. And my mom didn't have an inverted nipple. They cut her nipple off. That's what they did. And sewed it up. And sent it for a biopsy. They cut off more than what supposedly was what they were looking for. This stuff doesn't make no sense. And to not properly look at the document, I can look at it. I'm not even a damn doctor. I don't have PhD by my name, but I can look at that and tell that my mother's lithium levels were really high, and I know how it affects their kidneys. And if you're not feeding a patient on a proper basis, my mom already went to ICU once at Ruleville for that. The first time she went to the hospital and stayed. That's what they did, and I got her hair. At that time, they dehydrated her so bad her lips fell off in one chunk. And she was on lithium. They tied her to a bed for 10 days, and I begged on this internet for help. Finally, someone went and moved her to the hospital. After we called the owner of the facility, and he told my family on my text message that we were not worthy to go get a job. Then my mother got moved. So for UMMC to be a training facility, you have a professor that's signing off on all this crazy stuff that did not report the rape of my mom, teaching these people how not to do their job properly, obviously. Why? Because his father worked there too. His profile is half and half. I'm about to put together this video to present it to the state. I don't appreciate this at all. And I don't appreciate being slandered in any way like that. So I will be putting all this together. I will be presenting it in videos, because obviously I can't talk to liars and people who allow this to happen in their face, because all they want to do is call the damn police. Like, little old me, you need 2 to 4 police to come and walk me somewhere to go do something simple that, I just think it's funny, because they got a lot to be scared of, because they know what they've done. And it's like that everywhere I go, asking for my mother's records. They all freak out. Call security, and I have to be walked with people with guns because they were intimidated by a little old me. All I have is a voice and a mind. And I know what happened to my mom. But I think it's funny. Another lady told me on the other video, she goes, I don't know why you was laughing about the court. Because when they try to bring that stuff up in court, they booked me in and never told me about it. The other cop that I just talked to doesn't have anything about it. So when they try to slide that in, I'm going to have my papers filed with the court way before I go to court. I'll be having it filed with the proper authorities of what they're doing in this court. And I will make note of it and prove that they are trying to do something really strange that I don't understand. And you can't arrest somebody and have them standing in a courtroom and then tell them what they have been arrested for, that they don't have a clue. And if you contacted somebody that has a do not contact order, don't you think the person should know who not to contact? You can't tell me it's none of my business. That's why why I'm laughing. Like, these people have serious jokes. They're messing with me, and I don't care what happens to me. I got told I was next. Guess what? I'm sitting in my house. I made it easy for them. They know exactly where I live at, and I ain't running. I'm going to win, and I'm going to stop a lot of human trafficking and change things in the state of Mississippi, because my mom didn't die for no reason. She was not tortured in the way that she was for no reason, and there's patients left behind. You know, Penny pointed out something with me when she did the video for me about my mom, that there's a lot of people that never got to tell their stories, and their stories were important. Especially the man that had the two black eyes big as my thumbs under his eyes and the big knot on his head, and no one, all he wanted was someone to take him home. No one came. Just like no one came to help my mom. And now she's dead. So, why am I going to do this and I'm going to win? Too many lives depend on it. And my mom died to show how evil these people are. People got to watch the suffering of my mom to see how evil these people are. People who followed my story have seen my mom beg for years to come home, beaten, raped, drugged, repeatedly. And no one came to help her. And now it's time for things to change, because I'm getting older. I don't want to end up in a situation like that. And you never know. Any of y'all watching this can become disabled tomorrow and have to go to a place like that. And for the ones who follow me, what if something happened to you tomorrow and you ended up there and you said nothing? No one will never know your story because they don't let you contact the outside world very much. And they drug, beat, torture, starve their patients. My mom was starved. She had no food when she ended up in ICU. The same thing they did 5 days prior to my mother's death. I had the recording of them denying her food. That is the worst way to die of starvation. Much love.